my dear colleagues and friends. We are here again at our weekly Kumpiyansa Manila Bay, and we are again full house. Every time we invite liberal party leaders, we are always full house. Ganyan talagang attractive mag-MP. The last time, I invited Senator Kiko Pangilinan, and Senator Drilon was supposed to be here. Pero may conflict schedule. So I dedicated this Wednesday for him, solely for him. Our guest actually need no further introductions because many of you covered him here. And in fact, I'm just reminiscing with him a few years ago when I was still covering him as a justice secretary. From then, Labor USEC, Labor Secretary, naging ES, Executive Secretary, then Justice Secretary, Senator. How's kaya yung presidency? Anyway, I'll just give Senate Minority Leader Franklin Drilon his opening statement.
Thank you very much, Itzu, and I will not say I miss the press. It's always at the back of my mind.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, we will have our last 4 weeks of the first regular session of the 70th Congress. There are a number of measures which are pending in Congress. Some are in the House, not yet in the Senate. Some will be in the Senate. The most controversial would be the reinstatement of the death penalty. That's one. Number two, the postponement of the barangay election is coming up. The tax reform package will be deliberated, although it's still in the House. These three measures should occupy the calendar of the Congress in the next 5 weeks. These are very substantial and difficult pieces of legislation, and I am not optimistic that we will tackle them in the next 4 weeks substantially. For example, I do not see the death penalty reinstatement. I do not see the death penalty bill as moving forward in the Senate. Right now, it is stuck in the Committee on Justice. No hearings have been held. And from my own reading, there are about 13 senators who will vote against the reinstatement of the death penalty. I don't see how it can pass in the next 5 weeks, or for that matter, during the 70th Congress, unless unless a number of senators will change their minds. There are 6 in the minority who oppose the death penalty, plus a colleague in the Liberal Party who is allied with the majority, Senator Ralph Resto. Apart from these 7, there are at least 6 who either have made public statements or who have intimated that they will vote against the reimposition of the death penalty. So I do not see the death penalty being approved by Congress. The matter of the barangay election is very tight. The matter of the postponement of the barangay election, the schedule is very tight. It is not yet in the committee. Not yet. There is no committee report. There is no committee report in the Senate, to my recollection. The tax reform bill is still in the House. It's a major piece of legislation. Of course, on my part, personally on my part, I will be working, and we will be working on 2 important measures on a personal basis. This is the revision of the revised penal code in order to update the values upon which, the monetary values upon which the penalty is based, because the monetary values today upon which the penalty is based is still premised on a 1932 peso. A 1932 peso. So what we did is to update these brand values so that it becomes more realistic. It's a revised bill. Another one, this will be approved of third reading when we come back on Tuesday. And the amendments to the corporation code in order to principally make it easier to do business in the Philippines, generate employment and improve our economy. That is on a personal plane, the two bills that I will work on in the next 5 months.
You are now, the LP has already parted or broke off from the super coalition of Senator Coco Pimentel's PPP Laban. Is that the result, the immediate result of this breakup? You giving the LP, making a hard stand on this certain bill certified by the administration?
Let me qualify that issue. It's not simply taking a hard stand. For example, the matter of the reimposition of the death penalty. If you notice, there is bipartisan support against it. Bipartisan support in favor of maintaining the present status quo. So, it's not simply because of the Liberal Party, but because individually and collectively, the senators feel that we should not impose the death penalty. In fact, only there are about 7 from the majority coalition today in the Senate who are against the imposition of death penalty, and 6 in the minority.
So it will depend on bills and individuals.
That's correct. That's always what the Senate is. We look at, we take a position on the basis of each bill that comes before us today.
After all, there are 24 independent republics in the Senate.
Who all would want to be president of this republic?
Anyway, sir. But there are certain bills that you also support selectively.
That's correct. Like the tax reform package. So in general, subject to re-examination when we see the fine print. In general, the Liberal Party is in support of a tax reform measure. And to me, it's about time that we review our tax rates.
But as you said, there are barely 4 weeks left of the Congress' first regular sessions, and there are so many urgent but controversial bills. How would LP try to separate the individual from the party stand? Like the last time you met last Saturday, you came up with but subsequently denied by the president and the president that you are against any impeach moves against President Duterte and as well as with the vice president.
Well, there are certain measures where we have where we take a party position. The example is the reimposition with death penalty, the postponement of the barangay election. In the postponement of the barangay election, in these 2 instances, we've taken a party position. The tax reform package, as a party, we support it. But in the other areas, the other pieces of legislation, we allow our members to take our individual positions.
So it's now very clear the LP will be the chief fiscalizer of the administration.
That's correct. That's correct. In the Senate, at the very least.
Well, how about the House?
Well, I cannot speak for them. We allow them to take positions because sometimes there are circumstances which would dictate the position of the House contingent of the Liberal Party.
But definitely the LP numbers of the Senate will be affected by one of your colleagues who is currently detained and under the Senate rules cannot vote. What if there are swing votes necessary?
You mean
Senator De Lima.
De Lima. Well, yes, he cannot vote, but that does not preclude us from asking the Senate leadership or asking the court to allow her to come to the Senate floor to vote on critical issues.
Okay.
Yeah, that doesn't prevent us. If former Senator Jingo Estrada is given furlough to attend the 80th birthday of President Estrada, and also the other, also Bong Revilla, in certain instances, allowed to visit his father. On the same reasoning, the court should allow Senator De Lima to perform her task as a senator, where not in all cases will she be allowed required to attend, or will petition the court to allow her to attend. But in certain critical cases, votes in the Senate, as for example, the death penalty or possibly the postponement of the barangay election, when there is a need, we will ask the court, or we will ask the court to allow her to cast her vote.
So I presume it will be an LP move, not the move of the Senate President. It will ask the Senate
It can
President.
be the move of Secretary De Lima herself, it can be the move of the Senate, the LP minority, or it can be the move of the Senate President.
Since she's not suspended anyway.
Sorry?
She's not suspended anyway.
No, she's not. She's not. She's not suspended. She's only physically, she's under the physical custody, she's under the custody of the court. And therefore the court can authorize her to attend Senate sessions and cast her vote in the same manner that for reasons, for justifiable reasons, former Senator Estrada just recently was allowed furlough. So it can be done.
Can we get your thoughts? Because yesterday, Senator De Lima issued a statement from her detention that she feels disappointed with fellow LP at the House, specifically Representative Kimbo, for lacking, quote-unquote, the balls now to represent the party stand.
I have not discussed this with Congressman Kimbo. I just read in the media. I would rather not make a comment until I really am able to sit down with our colleagues in the House, and maybe I will ask our LP president to or get a briefing from Senator Pangilinan as to the situation there.
Since you are the Vice Chairman of LP, sir, can we just be clarified? Last Saturday, you issued a statement of against impeachment of President Duterte, and then Senator Kiko issued a statement saying it's not a party stand.
Is what?
It is not a party stand. Which is which, sir?
Well, we have not discussed it in the party. That's what Senator Kiko is saying.
During that Saturday caucus. The caucus.
There was a caucus on Saturday, wherein there
was
was a caucus among LP congressmen.
Caucus of congressmen.
To my knowledge, I was not here.
Okay.
I was not here, so I'm just basing it on media reports.
Okay.
I do not know.
May natatapakan yung ulo doon. This. Yeah.
So I would like to sit down with our president and figure out and find out what exactly is the status.
So doon na nagkaiba. LP caucus ng congressman lang pala yun. Kaya,
To my knowledge, yes.
so Senator Kiko issued that statement. Now it's klaro. So anyway, yung postponement of the barangay elections, the Comelec has said before July sana, it must be already postponed. But given the tight schedule that you are faced with, is there any move from the Senate to make it number one priority instead of the other controversial?
I am not even aware that the bill has been filed.
Okay.
I am not aware. Maybe there was a bill filed during the break. I do not know.
Kailangan may pupunta pa.
So I do not know